I've got the highlights from the 2017 annual shareholders meeting. It's a long one, so strap in. Here are your Tesla tidbits for June 7th, 2017. As with the other Tesla events, I'm going to break this down by category rather than in chronological order. Also, I'm trying to go from most to least relevant topics, which may be more accurately stated as the most imminent topics. Just a note, any quote I'm citing here was Elon speaking, as nobody else was on stage once he began. Let's get this show on the road. So let's start first with what everyone wants to hear about, Model 3. Configurator will go live toward the end of next month. They still fully expect to deliver the first production Model 3 then. Initial configurations will be very simple, and this is critical to the production ramp per Elon. Quote, "It's kind of going to be what color do you want and what size wheels do you want," end quote. Elon cited that the Model X had way too much complexity at the beginning. It sounded as though you'll get to see what configurations can be done later, with a timeline to the availability of that configuration, though it wasn't clear if that would be ready at launch or after the initial configurations had been built and shipped. Quote, "We'll show what other versions are coming later as soon as we get configuration 1 right, with a timeline associated with each configuration," end quote. It seems from that quote that Elon essentially has confirmed the lack of any super custom configuration of Model 3, as I speculated. The car will be built strictly with the packages we saw earlier. Dual motor folks again were confirmed to be waiting until late this year in the best case, but more likely early next year. Also, if you've not ordered yet, it's possible you won't see your car even before the end of next year. Quote, "If you want it, then definitely put down the deposit. The line isn't getting shorter," end quote. He finished again warning that there are many things outside Tesla's control that could cause the production ramp to be less than optimal. On to Tesla Semi, the unveil is still on track for the end of September. A working prototype will be shown, but the production vehicle should be available 18 to 24 months from now. It has already been shown to many of the organizations that buy heavy-duty trucking, and, quote, "They all love it and they just want to know how many they can buy and how soon," end quote. The biggest customers of the heavy-duty Tesla Semi also have been involved in the design process. They're helping to ensure that the vehicle has been specified to their needs. Quote, "It's not a mystery. They already know that it's going to meet their needs because they help decide. They told us what those needs are," end quote. Lastly, on the Semi topic, we got a cryptic little tease at the end of that section. Quote, "I just really recommend showing up for the semi-truck unveiling. Maybe there's a little more than we're saying here," end quote. Moving to a smaller future vehicle, Elon turned to Model Y. He responded to some criticism that felt Model Y should be built on the Model 3 platform in the same way that Model X came from Model S. Elon felt that the Model X being derived from the Model S platform was a mistake. Quote, "It would have been better to design an SUV the way an SUV should be designed and design a sedan the way a sedan should be designed. Otherwise, you're just trying to shoehorn something in that doesn't make sense," end quote. One of the big reasons as well is from a manufacturing efficiency standpoint. Elon feels that the capital expenditures for the Model Y will be half the cost of Model 3, as well as accelerate the readiness of the vehicle despite the new tech of the vehicle. They're also working to try to reduce supply chain risk with the Model Y as well. Elon reconfirmed that Model Y will get its own plant, not only due to manufacturing process reasons, but just the fact that Fremont will be fully utilized once Model 3 production is humming. However, the existing Gigafactory will still supply its batteries. They're hoping to have them on the road in 2019, and they expect that demand for Model Y will exceed that of Model 3. If you'd not noticed today, the CPO section of the Tesla website was flooded with cars today, and Elon says it will be getting a lot of attention going forward. Though he did make a bit of a joke that the pre-owned part of that is BS and that they're used cars. Quote, "Who are we fooling here?" end quote. He noted the fact that older or more high-mileage cars would now be making the site. Quote, "Particularly if the car is 4 years old and it's got a lot of mileage, you could buy a Model S for as much as a Model 3. It's like, well, okay, maybe someone wants to buy a Model S for $35,000, $40,000, and they can have that today. And then when the Model 3 comes in, they can switch that out for the Model 3 if they want," end quote. Regarding Autopilot, I have 3 pretty juicy quotes for you. First, quote, "It's definitely been a tough slog transitioning from the Mobileye vision chip to Tesla's internal vision system," end quote. Elon set the stage for the end of that slog, though, saying, quote, "The next release of software, which is maybe as soon as the next week, we will finally exceed the experience of the Hardware 1 cars, and then it's going to advance very rapidly from there," end quote. Lastly, he talked about the stated goal of the cross-country autonomous drive before the year is out. quote, "Our goal remains being able to drive autonomously from a parking lot in California to a parking lot in New York without touching a control at any point along the way," end quote. Though it should be noted that when giving that quote, he did not mention they intended to still do it this year, so it's possible that this goal may have slipped. On supercharging, Elon reiterated that Tesla plans to have 10,000 or more superchargers by the end of the year. Next year, he's hoping for at least a 50% increase, maybe double again. Amenities will be added to the very large stations. Quote, "When you do a long-distance trip in a Tesla, you love the experience," end quote. A question touched on the fact that many younger folks are living in apartments rather than homes, and how they would be able to charge without a garage. Elon talked about new in-city supercharging locations that wouldn't quite have the power of the current superchargers, but it's more power than found in a home garage. In the solar roof and Powerwall department, Elon was careful to caveat that the affordability will vary by region due to utility and property tax cost differences. This is walking back the original statements that solar roof would absolutely beat a standard roof. Normal panels aren't going anywhere either. There are still use cases for flat roofs on homes and businesses, as well as folks that have newer roofs already. He then touched on the phone app now integrating the solar and Powerwall products and what they're doing at any given moment. In addition, you can see your usage history to tune your electricity usage. The history shows how much power overall is being used, as well as from what sources, solar, Powerwall, or grid. Installation will be handled by the folks acquired with the SolarCity purchase as expected. The goal is to get the system to basically be a glorified Lego kit, where the project will be engineered and the pieces will be loaded to the transport vehicles and assembled at the site. We end on a few important miscellaneous bits. Elon seemed to imply that those states where Tesla is barred from direct sales would deliver cars directly to customers' homes. Quote, "All you need to do is just order like you're ordering something from Amazon or Apple or whatever. Just go on the website and order it and it shows up, just like that," end quote. Battery upgrades are a thing that can happen in every car, though going from the lightest pack to the heaviest pack isn't likely to be supported. Elon actually spent a bit of time talking about the audio system in the cars, specifically around streaming, after getting a curveball question about what he does in his spare time. He listens to music, particularly in the car, and hinted that the music selection in Teslas will be getting an improvement. Quote, "I think it's very hard to find good playlists or good matching algorithms. You know, we have something that works okay right now, but I think it could work really great. There will be an announcement on that later this year. This is going to be like the music you want to listen to," end quote. And lastly, the good old electric plane question was asked again, and Elon said that there are currently no plans for an electric plane. Quote, "It's not inconceivable that we do an electric plane, but I do think that we're not quite there in terms of the energy density of the batteries for an electric plane. I think the minimum you'd want is about 400 watt-hours per kilogram, and even that would require some pretty substantial innovation in the airframe and the way that you build an airplane in order to have a decent range at 400 watt-hours per kilogram. At 500, it starts to become quite compelling, but I don't know. I think we're maybe 4 or 5 years away from having 500 watt-hours per kilogram, maybe half a decade in volume production," end quote. Wow, that's it for that one. You can find the link to the video for the annual shareholders meeting in the show description. This show operates on a value-for-value model. If you get some value out of what I do each day, please consider supporting me at patreon.com/Tesla Tidbits. Thanks so much to my super patrons John Waltauer, Drew Schuyler, John Waller, Mark and Sarah Thomas, and Ryan Scarborough for supporting the show at the $10 plus level. Of course, as always, if you have nothing extra to spare, no worries. Please show your love with positive feedback and subscriptions on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and other services across the internet. Lastly, if you're in the market for a Tesla, you can get yourself $1,000 off and free supercharging for your vehicle if you use super patron Drew Schuyler's referral link at ts.la/Andrew1233. That's it for today. If you have feedback for me, the best way to be heard is to tweet at Tesla Tidbits. I'll see you back here again tomorrow. Until then, keep it charged and hit the road.